I Lied to You, the show all about lies and liars. On Lee Mack's team tonight, it's as if the grey clouds have parted and a ray of sparkling sunshine glitters down to catch a butterfly's wing as it lands gently on a summer flower. It's Jack D! And a man who is half English and half Polish, which means that he's constantly trying to book himself to tile his own bathroom. It's Peter Serafinovich.
Racist!
And on David Mitchell's team, a woman who stars in Gavin and Stacey, with me, had a #1 hit, with me, and later will be going home in a taxi. It's Ruth Jones! And what can I say about this man that hasn't been said before? He's Britain's tallest fireman. It's Jason Manford! Right, off we go with round one. It's Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them, and to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sift the fact from the fiction, and Ruth is first. Ruth, would you reveal all, please?
I once secretly swapped sandwiches with Rob on the set of Gavin and Stacey because a dog licked mine.
Is that right? Seriously? Well, we don't know yet, do we?
What was the dog doing on the set?
It was a dog that we feature in the show, Gavin and Stacey.
Called?
Oh,
No, what's the show called?
Just... Gavin and Stacey.
She's
Is
good.
there a dog in Gavin and Stacey?
Yes, and he runs
The one that runs along the promenade? Oh, yeah.
Did it have any negative effects on Rob?
Do you think that's the sort of effect it's likely to have? A dog has things that you would slowly become a dog? I think it's been more some sort of bacterial infection than actually morphing into a canine.
Well, here's the thing. A young student in America, Peter Parker, got bitten by a radioactive spider.
What was the sandwich?
Cheese and onion.
And you let me eat it?
Well, it was a bit of a bet. It was a... No,
so everybody was in on it?
It's prompted a confession in me. We were having people over for dinner, and our dog got onto the table and started eating one of the starters, but while everyone else was having drinks. And my wife just got it out of its mouth again and put it and just patted it, and so I made sure Rob sat there.
Sorry, not true. No. Never been to his house.
No, never will.
So when did the dog just take one lick and off he went?
It was the sandwiches at tea time, that come at tea time.
Let's call them the tea time sandwiches.
What?
You heard.
And there's a big platter of them. I put some on my plate. I put it down to go and make myself a cup of tea. The dog...
You put it down on what?
It was one of those, you know, those big tables, trestle tables. Anyway, I saw the dog out the corner of my eye lick the sandwich.
You said a trestle table, though. Trestle tables are quite reasonable. They're not coffee tables, they're high up. That dog must have actually got up on the table.
No, but it was a big dog.
Oh, he's got rabies!
I am. Look at this, it's coming out now that I know about it.
I think we should move on because Rob wants to go for a walk.
I'm amazed I've been allowed up on the furniture, to be honest. Lee, on that note, let's take a guess here.
I think Ruth is too nice to have done this, but on the other hand, there's a little bit of guilt there. There's a little bit of guilt.
Come on, it's hardly the JFK conspiracy. A dog licked a sandwich. I believe that would happen.
That JFK. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Jack, what do you think?
I say true.
You say true?
True.
You say true? I'll have to go with the team and say
Okay,
true.
you're saying true. Ruth, is it true or is it a lie?
Rob? It's a lie!
Oh, thank God.
I would never do something like that.
Well, I think I'm glad, yeah, OK. Wow. It's the best news we've had all series. It's a lie. Jack D, you're next.
I developed a word association system to remember people's names, but gave it up when it backfired on me.
David.
What was the word association system?
Don't That I developed?
To help remember people's names.
It was...
Jack, you've just got a bit of fluff on you.
Thank you very much.
Keep thinking.
Oh,
what I do is I attach a quality to someone and then try and relate that quality to the person's name.
So, just for example,
so,
what would that be?
So, Jason Manford, if I think Jason and the Argonauts, and that would perhaps... And then next time I'll see you, I'll think... Argonauts will make me think of Jason.
What's Argonaut like about Jason?
For instance, Jason the Argonauts, I might therefore... J and Argonaut gives me Juggernaut.
Right.
And you look to me like a lorry driver.
Right.
So, therefore, I would think lorry driver Jason.
And then when you next meet him, you say, "Hi, Yorkie, how are you?"
It has been known to backfire.
Which is where we come to the hilarious backfiring anecdote.
Oh, that was a bad one.
Yeah.
We met someone on holiday, and his name was Charles. And he wore very big sunglasses, like only a blind person would wear. And so I thought, that's brilliant, Ray Charles, because I will remember from the sunglasses, and therefore I will get Charles. And then so next year when we go, I can confidently say, "Hello, Charles." But it didn't work, because 12 months later, and you've slightly forgotten what you'd set up as a system. So he walks in, I go, "Hello, Stevie."
Where did you meet him? Where was it?
On the holiday.
Where was it?
In Holidayville.
Yeah.
Just in Dorset. It was in Dorset.
And what? So you were in a pub. And he walked over, and you went, "Stevie."
He came out. Yeah, it was the following year, and I saw him again.
Did he live round there?
Where were you sat?
No, he was a fellow holiday maker.
So, and you developed a sort of mild acquaintanceship with a man whose name you could barely remember, but
yes.
Planned to holiday with him again.
No, there was no plan involved, David. We didn't get together and say, "Are you going to be here next year?" "Yes, are you?"
But you obviously thought it was a possibility, because you already had a plan for remembering his name.
I perhaps didn't explain correctly that I'd seen him the previous year at the same place and not known his name.
So now it's 3 years on your
So for 3 years, you and Charles holidayed with metronomic regularity at the same place in Dorset. You kind of escaped
Well, that's
the man.
not so unusual. People tend to frequent the same place for holidays.
Year one, you see him, but you don't exchange names. And in year two, you learn his name.
To clarify this point, year one, there's no reason why I would know his name, because I hadn't been introduced to him.
No.
There's no reason for you to know his name at all.
Year two, I had forgotten his name, but endeavoured to remember it for the third year.
Right. All right, David. Is that the truth, or is it part of Jack's impish sense of fun and a lie?
I think it's the truth.
Do you? I think it's a lie.
I think it's true. I think I'm going to go for true.
Fine, that's all right.
You know.
You're saying true?
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's the team decision. OK. Jack D.
It was true.
Oh,
Hey.
very good, well done. Don't believe me.
It's true. Jack did develop a word association system to remember people's names, but gave it up when it backfired on him. Right. Jason, you're next.
OK. For 10 years, I refused to go into any branch of McDonald's after a girl dumped me in one.
What, you mean this girl took you there and left you there?
So you phoned ahead, made the reservation. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Manford. I'm very busy tonight.
How old were you? I was 16, she was 15.
Oh, hello. So, actually illegal.
You were on a date with her, or...?
Yeah, well, I think we've been to the cinema, and then afterwards we've gone to the McDonald's.
So when you were at the cinema, had you perhaps committed something of an indiscretion at the cinema, which prompted her then to end the relationship at the fast food restaurant?
I'd chosen Jumanji.
Can I ask, did she eat her meal before she finished with you?
I ate them both, I think, crying.
Oh, this is...
Finally, can I ask you, Jason, what prompted you to make a return to McDonald's in the end?
I think I was, needed a wee, like everyone else.
But it was 10 years, a whole 10 years
so
that you
only
didn't enter that restaurant.
2-3 years ago.
Wow.
I finally went back in. I looked that clown in the eye and I walked right into there.
She was still there.
She was still there.
I don't know, what do we think, Joe?
I think he's telling the truth. I think he's dumping material he wouldn't dare do on stage.
You say true? True. I'll go for true. You want to go for true?
True.
They're saying true. Jason Manford, are you telling the truth?
It is the truth.
What a roller coaster of a life you've led.
Yes, it's true. Jason, you've never been able to get over that girl dumping you all those years ago, but I can tell you now that she's here tonight. She's not. No, it was a physical joke. So, our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. So please welcome Ian. So, Ruth, what is Ian to you?
This is Ian, and Ian saved my tortoise's life when he was about to be crushed to death at a recycling plant.
Right. Jason, perhaps you'd like to explain how you know Ian?
This is Ian. Me and Ian got assaulted by some school kids when we were promoting a local butcher's. I was dressed as a sausage and he was dressed as a chop.
OK. And finally, David, your relationship with Ian?
This is Ian. I bought 10 packs of AA batteries from Ian on eBay, and he sent me 100 packs by mistake.
Gosh. So, there we have it. Ruth's tortoise's lifesaver, Jason's sausage friend, or David's eBay seller. Lee's team, where do you want to start?
Well, Jason, you were the sausage, weren't you?
I was a sausage, he was a chop.
When was this?
Well, I was doing a bit of acting and stuff at uni, and there was a promotions firm, and we went out dressed as sort of hilarious, things.
Was Ian at the university as well?
No, we met at the promotions.
What butchers?
It was just like a Summit and Son, I think, in Manchester.
What, you mean like all the names of all the butchers?
Well, yeah, if you want.
The thing that I'm not sure about his story is that when he was younger, he was a very big lad.
He was, yeah.
Now, that's not the look you want for a sausage, is it? Sort of traditionally long and thin rather than sort of... Hey, all right, mate, have you come as a burger? No, I'm a sausage.
So, you said there was an attack?
Well, we've been there since, we got there early doors when they opened it up and that, and they got a little local celeb to cut the ribbon and everything.
Who was the local celeb?
It was Curly Watts, Kevin Kennedy. So he came in, he cut the ribbon.
Can I just ask, what was Kevin Kennedy like?
It was nice. It was nice chop. Nice chop.
He was dressed up as well. Wow.
So later on, it got to about 3:30, and obviously school kicking out time. We're obviously dressed
Deliciously.
Deliciously. They started picking on us. They were about 11.
11?
And,
How old were you?
I was about 19, but I was dressed as a sausage, Lee. And these 11-year-olds were picking on us, calling us names and that.
What names?
What names, yeah.
Sausage.
Sausage. If only it was like...
Chop!
You choppy bastard. And that. You meaty prick. No, that sounds worse, actually. That sounds like a compliment. They pushed me over, and obviously I'm in a sausage suit, so I can't get up.
Did you actually explode, or had you pricked yourself in advance?
That's a nice sausage joke.
Shut your face.
OK, David, this wild and crazy story about getting too many batteries.
Yes.
You.
Yeah.
So you buy 10 packets of AA. Mm-hmm. Well, how many batteries in a packet?
2.
2?
2.
So you bought 10 packets of 2?
Yes.
But no, surely you would buy a big box of that, like 24.
There was a deal on eBay for packets of rechargeable batteries.
Sorry, David, when was this?
About 3 or 4 years ago.
Your career 3 or 4 years ago was going all right. Are you telling me that you were getting back from Peep Show and going, yeah, it went all right, but let me see how I can save money on batteries?
To be honest, I came to a decision in my life 3 or 4 years ago that I wasn't going to continue with my previous battery regime. So I decided I was going to buy a load of rechargeable batteries and have them on a sort of loop. Forever and ever and ever, I would never, ever, ever again, ever have to buy a battery.
What needs 10 batteries?
Well, no, like, there's the remote control for one television, the remote control for another television.
Ooh, Mr. Two Television!
So he sends you 10 times the amount?
Yeah.
So he sends you...
100 packs of two.
So 200 batteries.
Which I must admit was more than I had a use for.
Yeah.
Did you pay using PayPal or a credit card?
I sent a cheque.
True.
I think this story's got a lot of positives and negatives.
Right, Ruth, so talk us through the recycling story.
OK, my tortoise...
Whose name is?
Tom.
Your brain literally went, what begins with T? On the tortoise. Yes, Tom.
He disappeared from our garden a couple of years ago.
Well, they're known for running off quickly. So your tortoise has vanished?
It vanished. So after 3 days, we started to actually worry and tried to work out where he may have gone.
Right.
Did you go into his room and look at his diary?
He's been groomed on the internet.
We did then worry that maybe he'd climbed into a bin bag and been taken away with the rubbish. So we phoned up the council and explained the dilemma, and they said, we'll go through the rubbish and we'll get back to you in a couple of days.
Yes, because they're cooperative like that, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you have one of those phone calls, if you're worried your tortoise is in the rubbish, press 2.
So then 5 weeks went by.
Did you put, like, posters up like you do with cats? Did you? Tortoise missing, answers to the name of... Tom.
5 weeks after he'd gone missing, when I was feeling very sad, we got a phone call saying, we've found a tortoise in the recycling plant.
Let me ask you this. Did they find it in a specific part of the recycling area, like in the plastics?
They found it on the conveyor belt, on the can crusher bit.
Yeah. You're saying this is now like a Disney film?
It's at the end of Toy Story.
It's trying to run away,
It would make a good film, wouldn't it? I think, anyway, it was about 30 seconds away from the can crusher.
Oh, wow. Give it a rest.
You've ruined the story for yourself now.
30 seconds away?
Well, yeah.
But he was close to the end of the line, about to go in.
Yeah.
So all the other people on the line, they'd just missed the tortoise. They'd gone, I do cans, I do plastic. Who's going to do the tortoise? It's not my job. That's not my job. I don't do tortoises. Do you do tortoises? I don't do tortoises.
So, all right, there we are. What do you think, Lee's team?
I think it's David's story. I think it's the
battery.
I think he's the battery man,
salesman.
personally. Ian is exactly how I imagine someone like that would look.
An online battery seller to look. Yes, yes.
Don't think for 1 minute Ruth has got a tortoise. Or has ever had it. Because tortoises, they don't survive the cold. She lives in Wales. Right, I think... Well, who do we think?
Does my opinion count for anything?
No. Jason or David? Shall we go for David?
Go on then.
I'd say David, yeah.
Let's go on then.
Saying David, you're saying it's the online battery sales.
Yeah.
OK. Ian, would you please reveal your true identity?
My name is Ian. I work for a recycling plant where I found good cargo.
Yes, Ian saved Ruth's tortoise's life seconds before it was about to be crushed in a recycling plant. Thank you so much, Ian. So, Ruth, that was incredible. Is everything with the Toy Story bit on the...
Yes.
All true.
He's really called Tom. He's really called Tom.
Now, we've got a picture, actually.
Great.
Oh, there you are.
That
You're
is
about
Tom.
to eat the tortoise. Isn't that nice? Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, in which our panellists lie not only through their teeth, but against the clock. We start with... It's Lee.
I've placed a £500 bet at the bookies that I'll live till I'm 100.
David's team, what do you think?
When did you place this bet?
I placed this bet when I was 18 years old.
And what odds did they offer?
They offered odds of 1,000 to 1.
1,000 to 1. And you... Sorry, how much did you bet again?
£500.
So, when you're 100, you stand to gain what?
£47.38.
How old are you now?
I'm 41.
Right, so at 18...
£500,000.
How...
Got it.
Well done.
So you're only a couple of years younger than me. At 18, £500 was quite a lot of money back then.
It was.
Where did you get £500 from?
I inherited it from my granddad, who reached the age of 100.
Oh.
And I thought that would be an appropriate thing to do.
Your granddad was 100 before you were 18. How old's your dad when you're 18?
Sorry?
When you were 18... When you were 18, your grandfather was 100?
Yes.
No.
So he was 82. Your grandfather was 82 when you were born, right?
Can we stop calling him Grandad and give him his proper name of Step-Grandad?
Show
some respect for the dead. He was 100 years old.
He was your step-grandfather.
But you still decided that...
After your grandfather died, your grandmother married a much, much older man.
Well, she was very old. She was very old when she had my...
Yeah.
Why did you decide...
How old was your grandmother when she had your dad?
She
71?
She was 45 when she had my granddad.
Right.
Look, it's a weird family, I'm not going to lie. It's a very weird family.
Why did you decide? It would make sense, that math.
She was 45 when she had...
The maths might make sense, but why did you decide that the genes of your step-granddad would be in you?
£500, that would have got you an airfare to Australia.
23 years
Surely
ago.
you'd have spent it on travelling or something like that. I just can't believe that you would...
Oh, yeah. I was grieving. That was not the time to go flying around the world. There's nothing more upsetting than a step-grandfather dying at 100. I'll be honest with you, none of us expected it.
Time to guess. It's a lie. It's a lie.
It's
saying it's a lie.
It's a lie.
Ruth thinks it's a lie. Jason thinks it's a lie. Lee, is it a lie, or were you actually telling us the truth?
It is, in fact, a lie.
No, it's not true, but Lee's going to feel like such an idiot if he does reach 100. Not because he didn't place the bet, but because he'll be wetting himself on a bus and telling strangers he used to be on the telly. Next. Peter Serafinovich.
You're getting out a gun?
My first drink of the morning is always a mixture of tea and coffee. I call it cough tea.
Peter, before you jump in, I couldn't help noticing you put on a pair of sunglasses there. Why?
This is so I don't give away any tells with my eyes. I'll take them off. Okay.
Yeah, you can't...
Yeah, but to be fair, he still looks quite cool.
So, it's disgusting, isn't it? Half tea, half coffee?
I don't like it when you, like, the same teaspoons used after a coffee into a tea. So to mix the two together, weird.
You like that, do you?
Well, I did it by accident when I was about 8. And my mum was like, what are you doing? But then I had a swig of it.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Can I ask, how do you make it? Do you make the tea in a pot and the coffee in a cafetiere and then pour it? Or do you do an instant and a tea bag?
I've only ever had it with instant. I don't think you'd sort of sully a nice espresso or whatever with a tea bag.
Do you take sugar in your coffee tea?
No, that would be weird.
Sorry. You can have half white sugar and half brown sugar.
Oh, pervert.
What's it called? They had coffee tea.
You could have called it toffee. That would have sounded right.
Yeah. There's already a thing called toffee. I think the very fact that he said you wouldn't do it with proper coffee, only instant coffee, shows that he despises it as a concept. Yeah. And he can't bring himself. Otherwise, if you really meant this about coffee, you'd say, I use the finest coffee and the finest tea.
David.
And I blend them exactly together.
Can I just say, calm down, OK? Calm down, dude.
You sound like you've had too many coffee teas today.
Right, come on, David.
Well, what do you think?
I think absolutely it's a lie.
I think it's a lie as well.
Yeah, I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
So...
All right,
yeah.
Peter, is it the truth or is it a lie?
I was telling the truth.
Oh!
It was a lie, and he even lied as he told us whether or not it was a lie. Next. No, that's me. Right, here we go. I once stole Catherine Zeta-Jones's dinner money.
Well, of course, you're both Welsh, so you presumably went to the same school.
Yes, applaud that thinly veiled racism.
What age were you?
I would have been school age, young, about, I don't know, 10.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is about... she's 40-odd.
Well, I'm 45.
Yeah,
she was younger than me at school. And is even younger now, apparently.
So you were 10?
You were 10.
And she was about 5. You stole a 5-year-old little girl's dinner money at the age of 10. You bastard!
No, I didn't steal it as such. It was a misunderstanding.
Right. What was the misunderstanding? How did her money end up in your hand?
Well, I arrived at school that day, and as I walked into the school, Catherine Zeta-Jones's mother saw me and said, "I've forgotten to give Catherine her dinner money. Would you give her the dinner money?" And gave the dinner money to me. And I forgot to give her the money, and I spent the money on sweets.
And what was this school?
It was called Swansea School.
Swansea? Swansea School?
It was called Dumbarton.
Oh, not Swansea then, Dumbarton.
In Swansea.
Oh, right.
Have you met her since?
Yes, I have, actually, yes.
And have you had a hilarious...
Oh, tell us about when you met her.
Here's your £3.
I'll tell you that when I met her, this is true. When I met her, which is not to say... which is not to say that the other one isn't true. I met her at the BAFTAs when she won for Chicago, and she had an American accent. That's the story.
Oh, right. Give me my £3 back, Brydon.
So what are you going to say? Truth or lie?
Lie.
It's got to be a lie.
You
Because,
say lie.
You're too an honest man not to have gone back and given it to us.
So, David's team.
I think it might be true.
I'll go with what Ruth says.
Yeah, all right. We'll say it's true.
You're saying it's true?
Yeah.
You say it's a lie, you say it's true.
So
it is true. Yes, it's true. I did once steal Catherine Zeta-Jones's dinner money. It was a long time ago when we were kids. I now feel old age creeping up on me, as does Catherine, every morning when Michael fancies a cuddle. And that sound tells us time's up, and it's the end of the show, and I can reveal that David's team are the winners by 8 points to 3. But it's not just a team game. My individual liar of the week is Ruth Jones. Yes, lovely Ruth Jones, whose irresistible South Wales charm is a bit like my irresistible South Wales charm, except that it's irresistible and charming. Goodbye.
Davina McCall, the Prince of Non-Fiction, Dave Gorman, and their team captain, David Mitchell. And facing them tonight, she's no dummy, Janet Street Porter. He's from The Mummy, Omid Jalili, and their team captain, Lee Mack. And here's your host, Rob Brydon.
Good evening and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show that rewards the very best liars. Research shows that 51% of Scottish women lie to get out of lovemaking. Oh, I'm allergic to bins. Lovely image, isn't it? And psychologists claim that laughing at a joke you don't find funny is a form of lying. I disagree. I think it's good manners. And I'll thank you all to remember that. And so, to round one, Home Truths, where our panellists take it in turns to read out a statement about themselves from the card in front of them. They haven't seen what's on the card yet. It could be a truth, it could be a lie, but it's definitely a card. Janet is first up. Janet, reveal all.
Right. I wrote my will on a bit of cardboard when I thought the plane I was in was about to crash.
Oh, there we are.
I know, but certainly, yeah, she was, I'd say, trying to make it look like she was amazed by the ridiculous thing on the card.
Like that.
But maybe she was amazed by the ridiculous thing on the card, because I imagine if a plane crashed, one of the things that would perish along with the humans would be the cardboard. So,
Are you asking me to comment on that?
I think he's just suggesting that you should have written your will on the black box.
Yeah.
I mean, that's logistically impossible. Aren't they locked in their cabins now? Doing that. Oh. Sorry to argue with you.
No, you see, I don't think that the black box solution was workable either.
OK.
I think when they talk about when they find the black box, what they do is it's a recording they play rather than they read what's written on it.
Don't you mean I could have got in the pilot's cabin and just screamed my will at them?
You could have actually put it on the radio and say, never mind, Mayday, Mayday, take this down.
Was it cardboard and not paper?
It was a packet.
A packet
of what?
Do you always look this cheesed off when you're thinking?
I've got so many cogs whirring in my brain. I'm just trying to control them.
So many what? Sorry?
Cogs.
Oh.
Like you, Rob. My IQ makes double figures.
I think it's triple figures you're aiming at.
It was a film packet.
Why did you think it would work?
I was panicking. Yeah. The bloody plane was crashing. You're not logical, are you?
What were you writing? I mean, were you writing, like, bits and bobs to each person, or was it, like, everything?
I was leaving everything to the person I was with.
Oh,
he was in the plane!
Everything has to come through me. Right?
So presumably it didn't crash because thankfully you're with us and, you know...
No, we thought it was going to crash.
Yeah.
And the plane had problems with the landing gear.
Well, David, you've heard a fair old testimony here.
Well, I don't think... Janet doesn't strike me as a
She will do by the end of the night.
All right. And I think to write a will on something that will burn more quickly than you will is a moronic act.
But the only thing that worries me was the beginning when she looked at it. I felt that she was acting.
Yeah.
When you're thinking all along, she knows exactly what she's reading because it's the truth.
I think it was a bit double bluff at the beginning. I think it's probably true.
Yeah. And you're leaning towards true.
It could be true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just don't think it is true, but I'm happy to be outvoted. We think it's true.
You say it's true. Janet, is it fact or fiction?
True.
Oh, yes, I was right.
How did you get there?
Yes, it's all true. Janet wrote her will on a bit of cardboard when she thought the plane she was on was about to crash. Passengers heard a terrifying whining noise, an unearthly screeching. It was Janet asking for an extra blanket. Davina is next up. Davina, reveal all.
Yes. I have 2 chilies tattooed on my back, but I'm having them covered up because they look like carrots.
Lee's team, what do you think of that faltering delivery?
Well, whereabouts are they on your back?
They're on this side.
I know where the back is.
Sort of down on my shoulder.
When did you have them done?
15, 20 years ago.
Why did you choose the 2 red chilies?
I was in Bali, and we were on an island called Lombok.
I don't remember this.
And Lombok...
Just during my drinking phase.
I know you've got tattoos.
What are the other tattoos?
Horns.
Where's that?
On my hips.
One on each side?
Yeah.
What, so your belly button looks like a ram's nose?
Not my belly button.
What?
She said, not my belly button.
Nice.
What can I say?
A bit of sauce from McCall. I like it.
Did you choose chilies so that if a bloke came across him, he'd think, she's hot stuff?
Yeah, well, I would think that if people didn't think they were carrots.
Either that or here's something I don't want in my mouth for too long.
So you were in Bali. Who were you in Bali with?
My boyfriend at the time.
Changed now?
Yeah.
Right.
15 years ago. 15
Didn't work
years
out.
ago.
That's fair enough.
So
Lee,
you went...
You're all right with that?
I'm fine with that,
15
yeah.
years ago. Relationships change, you know?
No, I'm starting to dislike you.
What do you reckon?
What do you think, Janet?
Lie.
Fib.
Fib.
Big fib.
Omid?
Lie, definitely.
Omid says it like he's passing sentence.
I actually think it's true, but my team think it's not true. And who am I to overrule her?
So, Lee, I really do need a...
OK, I'll go with my team and I'll say that that is in fact a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Davina McCall, is it true or is it a lie?
Oh! So sorry. I was just about to support you.
Let's have a look, then.
I need somebody to help.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Carrots, right?
Definitely carrots.
Very
I
carroty.
got done.
Yeah.
Give me a moment now just to let the blood come back to my head. Yes, it's true. Davina is having her tattoos of chilies covered up because they look like carrots. Davina was inspired to have the chilies done after a wild holiday in Lombok, Indonesia. Similarly, David has a very striking tattoo on the small of his back of the wonderful Tiverton Steam Museum. Omid, your turn to confess all.
It says, read with accent. Do I have a bomb strapped under my shirt? That's in very poor taste. That's in very poor taste. No, that's obviously a lie. I am launching my own range of condiments, including Omid Jalili Piccalilli.
So,
If you're not, you've got to.
Who approached you about launching a range of condiments?
Penguin Books.
It's true. That's where their money comes from.
Barry Norman has a range of pickled onions out.
Through Penguin Books?
I don't know about Penguin Books,
Yes,
but Barry Norman does have jars of pickled onions.
Well, like Paul
No,
Newman with his salad.
No, he does.
Salad, yeah.
It was. That was the idea. They were trying to make this Paul Newman thing happen. I said, I've only done a few bit parts and a few films. And they said, well, you're quite well known in comedy, and we're trying to get this new thing, Jalili Piccalilli. There'll be other products as well, Jalili Chili, all kinds of things with Lily at the end.
So why did Penguin Books? I mean, just... Is it to go with a book?
They wanted me to write a book, but I didn't feel I was old enough or experienced enough to write anything about my life.
So you said, how about I do some sort of sauces and spices and...
I didn't, they did. There was somebody who was in the meeting who has a sideline in condiments.
So Penguin Books said, we'd love you to do a book. And you said, no, I won't do a book. OK, oh dear, he won't do a book. That was a good idea. Any chance of some condiments? Because in the office next door, there's a guy, and basically what he's just been working on, some pickled onions with Barry Norman. He was brilliantly, your name rhymes with some condiments.
Yes.
Particularly Piccalilli, which we're trying to introduce to a new generation.
Reintroduce
That's not his real name. His real surname is Jabasco Sauce.
I'm not
really
prepared to say anymore.
confused. I think it's gone so weird that it's true. I think...
Well, stranger things have happened, but I think only about 6 ever.
The books thing can't
The Penguin
be
Books
true.
is
It can't be true, can it?
It's such a strange thing to make up if it's a lie that it makes me think it's true.
I think what I'm worried that we're in danger of doing here is having heard something that is absurd and obviously not true and saying that therefore it must be true.
So, come on, what's it going to be?
I think we think it's a lie, but I'd like to say if it is true, it's what a wonderful world.
You're saying it's a lie?
It's a
OK,
lie,
Omid Jalili, is it fact or is it fiction?
It's absolute crap.
It's a lie. Omid is not launching his own range of condiments, including Omid Jalili Piccalilli. That's quite clearly a lie. Actually, Omid did once release his gentleman's relish in a supermarket. And to this day, he's banned from Asda. Our next round is called The Ring of Truth, where I will be reading out some strange celebrity facts. But will I be lying through my teeth or telling the truth through my teeth? Lee's team, take a look at this.
Seems to me that it's highly likely that pigeons, like any other sort of bird, are gonna have regional accents. We've got a pigeon here in Scotland that was born 10 years ago and has lived in Scotland ever since. So we're going to get quite a nice, pronounced Scots accent with a bit of luck. If you keep going south and drop down maybe even as far south as Putney, you're going to get a nice Cockney accent developing from your pigeons. And there's a nice little wing flap.
There we are.
I love the fact that, you know, how much they patronise me on this show. We're 4-0 down, and I'm thinking, give Lee a chance, ask him a question about pigeons. He'll understand that. He's from
it's more than that. That's your dad filmed 2 weeks ago.
My dad's dead.
Was he dead 2 weeks ago?
He wasn't actually, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point, Dave.
Yeah.
So, here is the related fact for Lee's team. Mike Tyson once rented a hotel suite for his 8 favourite pigeons. Do you believe that, Lee's team?
It's been well documented that Mike Tyson breeds pigeons.
So they have their own suite?
Yes.
What if the pigeon, like, called down for room service? The woman on reception must be going, it's just a dialing tone.
This is the world in which the pigeon has lifted the receiver and pressed the button for room service.
He invited several journalists up to his hotel suite where the 8 pigeons were perched on the wardrobe in the bedroom, and he said to one of the journalists, "Be careful where you fit." Well, that's the other one. That's that British one.
That's Chris Eubank.
Chris Eubank, yes. It's a shame it isn't about Chris, because I can do a very good Chris.
That's really good.
I know, it's such a shame it's about bloody Tyson, isn't it?
Do the same thing with the American
Do Teddy Wogan.
Oh, be careful where you sit. Franz Ferdinand. Davina, I've heard you do a very good pigeon impression. And if that's true, I'd love to hear it.
She's going to shit on the bonnet of a car, isn't she?
Very impressed with how you're centering yourself. Oh, sorry. I spoke over it.
Do it again. That's great.
Oh, lovely. Well done. There we are. So, Lee, let's have you guess then. Is it true or is it a lie?
You think that he would actually book a hotel for his pigeon? He loves them that much, he'd book a hotel room for them.
You're paving the way for me to be in the doghouse again, aren't you?
Is that a child line?
No. We've got 0 points. No, I'm just working out.
Right.
You're already
I blame
regretting having me on your team.
I didn't
and if
have
I get
a choice.
this wrong...
I've been in a room with him and he's got such a scary atmosphere around him. I can imagine something like that would be true.
You think it's true?
Yeah,
I think it's true.
Well, I don't think it's true, but
You're
I'm going to go with
true.
my team again.
The team
So far, the track record has been brilliant.
The team are saying true. It's true. Mike Tyson did once rent a hotel suite for his 8 favourite pigeons. Which means, at the end of that round, it's David in the lead by 4 points to 1. Our next This round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it'll be up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Sadie. So, Lee, what is Sadie to you?
This is Sadie. She's my children's nanny, and the first time I met her, I ran over her foot.
OK. Omid?
This is Sadie, and I employ her to massage my dog. That's not a euphemism.
And finally, Janet.
Sadie came to my 60th birthday party, pretended to be a waitress so she could lick Daniel Craig's plate.
So, there we have it. David's team, where do you want to start?
Can I just check? Do you know Lee? Have you been to his house?
I can just about remember his name.
Well, do you know his nanny?
No.
Okay.
Because if I knew Lee's nanny, I'd either have gone, that's Lee's nanny, or that's not Lee's nanny.
She's
so
my,
no.
hang on. She's my children's nanny. I'm not a complete moron. She's not my nanny.
Now, this running over the foot business, that was the first time you met her?
Correct.
And the circumstances were?
I was in my car.
And she was on the driveway?
Correct.
What happened immediately after the foot running over moment?
Ow!
Can you roll that forward?
Ow! That was my foot!
You see, she's laughing quite a lot now, as if, like, I have to laugh, he's my employer.
Yeah.
But this wasn't, as it were, how you met her. You didn't run over her foot and say, you look like you might be a good nanny.
It was the first time she'd arrived at the house. I'd never met her before, because my wife...
Your wife had interviewed her and...
Yeah,
and
I can finish my own sentences. I'm really good at it. my wife had interviewed, actually, you're correct, yes.
Omid, why do you have to get your dog massaged?
First of all, it's my kid's dog. We've had the dog for about 7 years. They wanted to get a masseuse because of arthritis. It's a spaniel. We've had it for 7 years, so in dog years it's about 42, so it's quite early, and I didn't want to pay for a masseuse, but it
Couldn't somebody
killed the
else
dog.
learn to massage instead?
It's a very
it's
a highly
expensive.
skilled thing. It is. It's about £35 a session.
And how long are you going to have to do it until the dog dies?
We don't know. It may be indefinite.
You know you can have a dog put down for 30.
Janet, can I just check? Sadie came round to your house, she pretended that she was a waitress, she wanted to lick Daniel Craig's plate, and you didn't just chuck her out and go, you are you're leaving.
No, I don't care.
She was not
There was a lot of people at the party, and Sadie was at the party. Daniel Craig was at the party.
Sorry, so Sadie was invited to the party?
Yes.
The Waitress Act was in order to gain access to the plate?
Yes.
So what she did is instead of approaching...
I didn't go through the ins and outs of it. Because it was my bloody birthday. I was getting trashed. I was having a good time, like anyone ill tonight would do. You know, just because you're 60, love, doesn't mean you can't, get off your trolley.
The question is, why do you think that Sadie, instead of using her position as a party guest to talk to Daniel Craig, which is legitimate in a party, I think you'll agree...
Go on,
You're really getting on my wits now.
Do you want some?
No. Have you met anyone famous in your career? Really famous? If you met Daniel Craig, could you actually speak?
No.
There you go.
She's right.
Answer.
Are you going to walk over and stand there in answer to every question from here on?
We're all a bit scared now.
Yeah. No, hey, I'm most scared because I'm closest.
All right, we need an answer. So David's team is Sadie, a nanny whose foot Lee ran over, Omid's dog masseuse, or a plate-licking pretend waitress at Janet's party.
Janet absolutely couldn't look at Sadie when she walked in, and I thought maybe that was because she really had licked it embarrassingly.
It's just an odd thing. I mean,
I'm leaning... I think it's Omid or Janet, and I'm leaning towards Janet on this one.
Right, I'm going Janet.
OK, well, let's go Janet.
You're saying Janet? OK. Sadie, would you like to reveal your true identity?
Yes, I posed as a waitress. Yes, I cleared Daniel Craig's space away, and yes, I licked it clean.
Can I just say, Sadie, that you sound very broad-minded. Sadie, ladies and gentlemen. So at the end of that round, David's team have 5. Lee's team are catching up with 1. Which brings us on to our final round that we call Quickfire Lies. Lee's team are currently way behind, so they need to make a comeback, starting with... David Mitchell.
Right. The screensaver on my phone is a photo of my living room carpet.
You've got a mobile phone?
Yeah.
Bloody London for you, eh? Lee, is he telling the truth?
Well, if anyone's capable of this. What colour is the carpet?
Sort of, a very bright beige.
I like the fact that you thought beige might be boring. I'll jazz it up a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Why would you do that? Why would you take a photograph of your carpet?
Well, I've got a mobile phone which is the same model as a phone that many people have.
Yes.
And I needed a way of distinguishing it from other people's. You know, it might be left at a table in a meeting and then you pick it up and go, oh, yes, I immediately recognise that because it's the one with the carpet.
A beige carpet.
He might have done it once a long time ago.
He's done something on that carpet.
Oh, he hasn't, has he?
Yeah, that's why he's got it on his phone.
Oh, not again! I told you, I'll rub your nose in it!
So you think...
Yeah, I think you've done something. You might photograph your carpet, but you wouldn't photograph a beige carpet.
So what are we saying? True or false?
I think it's false.
False.
You're saying it's a lie. OK, so, David, is it true or is it a lie?
It is, in fact, true.
Well, David, the obvious question... Would you please whip it out and let us have a look?
Absolutely. There we go.
Oh, we have a close-up, actually. And there it is. It's true. The screensaver on David's phone is a photo of his living room carpet. It's the first time an Ericsson's got a close-up of a bit of beige carpet since Sven went out with Ulrika. Originally, David had a picture of his bed on his phone, but got embarrassed about his Hannah Montana duvet cover. Next up, Lee.
Ooh, possession.
Oh, right, you're going to pick the box up then from under the desk.
Well, you say box.
Oh, sorry, the tube. The tube.
Yes. This is my wall map of the UK. I have marked every service station that I have ever visited on it.
Oh, OK.
I can so see him doing that.
Yeah. This from a man who was criticising somebody else for photographing a beige carpet.
Wow.
Sorry, are they little stickers?
Yes.
Sorry?
There are 2 colours of stickers.
There are 2 colours of stickers.
What do they represent?
The orange ones. These are the orange ones, orange ones.
Yeah.
And I've also done blue ones.
But why?
Why? So I could differentiate between the 2 types of service stations.
Why?
I'm about to tell you.
OK, well, come on.
Just give me a second.
Sometimes Lee likes to finish his own sentences, sometimes not.
They basically do 2 differentiating service stations. I use orange if I am heading north and blue if I'm heading south. Or, if I'm heading west, I also go for blue. In east, I go for orange.
Well, you have headed north a lot more than you've headed west or east. I mean, how did you get back here?
They're actually equal if you count them.
Looks like there are loads more orange. Now, that one in Scotland there on the top...
I can't believe you know where Scotland is, David. Well done.
Near Inverness, there's one.
That one there?
That one there. Reminisce about that.
Do you know, I will reminisce about that. I went through to the main pasty area, where I ordered my Ginster's pasty, and may I say, Aberdeen service station, it was absolutely the perfect temperature. This is really hurting my arm.
OK, you can put it down. One more question, though. One more... Have a look. Yeah, one more question, though.
You don't have to spoil it with the details.
If you want to have a look, they can have a look.
Can they?
Yeah.
These are all motorway serviced.
Yeah. Oh, you're all coming, are you?
Well, you know.
Yeah.
There's an F and an asterisk. What do they denote?
They note fantastic, and the asterisk is... there's not a word. Blows my mind. Blows my mind, the asterisk.
And how many years of touring does this represent?
Oh, it's not just touring. I'll do it when I'm on holiday. I'll do it wherever I go.
You know when you said that there were about the same number of orange and blue? There's 7 blues and 33 oranges.
You're going to be laughing on the other side of your face when in the next round I say, I am colourblind.
So, David, it's time to take a guess.
Aberdeen service station doesn't ring true.
It's definitely... I wonder, with the Aberdeen one, that's right outside Aberdeen. So you stopped at a service station about 6 minutes after departing.
If it's on empty, I stop and fill it up.
Certainly,
33 times out of 40 happens when heading north.
Yes, it's uphill.
You could... Lie.
You're saying lie quite conclusively. Lee, is it the truth or is it, in fact, a lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
No.
It's a lie. That's not...
Can I just say to the idiots that come up with these questions, as if it's not hard enough that I put little stickers on a map because I fill up and I like to get... They'll think, oh, no, how can we make it more harder? Well, I have 4 of them with blue on, 1 with an X and 1 with a bloody asterisk. How the hell am I supposed to do that?
It's really difficult.
Just say, why don't you just stick one in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean?
And there's the buzzer that signals the end of the show, and I can reveal in a very, very tight contest tonight. I mean, there's very little between them. David's team have won by 7 points to 3. But, of course, it's not just a team game. And my individual liar of the week this week is Davina McCall. I'm pleased to say that you'll have another chance to catch Davina's best bits on Would I Lie to You's Little Brothers, Big Brothers, Extra Factor, It Takes Two, Big Mouth, Champion of Champions, The Aftermath. Good night. Welcome along to Would I Lie to You, the show that rewards the very best liars. On David Mitchell's team tonight, a legendary comedian who manages to be one of the biggest stars in showbiz and one of the smallest. It's Ronnie Corbett!
Thank
you. And a comedian from Newcastle, so she won't have seen anything like this before. Men wearing jackets. It's Sarah Millican! On Lee Mack's team, a comedian who's always on the lookout for a double entendre, so I'm going to bend over backwards not to give him one. It's Julian Clary! And a comedian from Guildford in leafy Surrey, although she was brought up in the rough part of town where the Waitrose didn't have its own deli counter. It's Holly Walsh! So let's begin with round 1, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. To make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've got no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the truth from the lies. And Julian Clary is first up. Julian.
In my garden, I have a life-size statue of myself astride a unicorn.
Seems reasonable enough, David.
Where do you get one? I mean,
it was a prop from a show. A prop from a show I did. It's not made of stone. It's made from polystyrene or something. But it's been painted. It's a bit weather-worn now.
And what was the show?
It was it was a New Year's Eve thing for Channel 4. Hello 1993 or something.
Well, why did Hello 1993 need a statue of you on a unicorn?
Well, it was the 90s.
You touch it up every now and again, every spring, give it a repaint, or...
I have a man for that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
You don't have to touch up its horn yourself?
No.
Did you ask for the unicorn, or was that forced on you?
Well, it was part of the set. You know, like you have these sort of bumper car things for this set.
Yes, I see that.
When this comes to an end, you may want to take one of those home. Same.
I'd like to have this in my house, and I'd like to address my wife from it every night. On to round 3, foreplay, and if you get through that, who knows what might happen. So it's in the garden. Is it part of a water feature? Is it on a lawn?
It's on a plinth, on a few bricks.
A few bricks.
Which is it? A plinth or a few bricks? Because when cars have had their wheels taken, they don't say, "Oh, look, that car's on a plinth."
Well, I call it a plinth.
How nice.
What do you think then, David?
Yes, what do you think, Ronnie?
I think it might be a lie.
Really?
Would it be in the garden for this long, I asked myself.
Well, it could... I mean, it could be in a bit of a state.
Seriously dilapidated.
Yeah. A sort of a decaying image of yourself on you. That'd be quite a reminder of your own mortality on top of a mythical beast.
I have a similar thing in my house. It's called a mirror. So what are you going to say, David?
I think it's true. I thought it was true from the first time we said it. I didn't need any backup.
You think it's a lie?
I think it's true.
I think it's a lie.
Well, I think on balance, I think it's true.
OK, David's saying it's true. Julian, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
It was a lie.
Oh. Yes, it's a lie. Julian doesn't have a life-size statue of himself astride a unicorn in his garden. The traditional method for hunting a unicorn is for a fair maiden to sit alone upon the grass, and after a time the unicorn will approach. This is also the traditional method for catching flashers. Ronnie Corbett, you're next.
Right. I once undertook a self-help course entitled How to Become Taller.
Very hurtful, that laughter, I thought, Ronnie. Very hurtful.
Was it a step-by-step guide?
It was. No, it was a little routine I had to perform every morning against the wall, stretching up, and with a pin in the wall.
Oh, it was literally taller, not just to make you feel
Oh, no, to
confident.
really make me
This is
taller.
going to make you taller.
I'm talking about the real business, making me taller. And saying every day and in every way, I'm getting taller and taller.
Can I ask you a question? Did you keep the receipt?
Was this done once you were of maturity, or was it when you were an adolescent and still possibly might grow?
I was about sort of 14 or 15.
Oh,
yes,
right.
And it was bought by my aunt,
right,
who was perhaps more worried about my size than I was.
Yeah.
And so she subscribed to it.
How tall were you at 14?
A little bit taller than I am now, actually.
This is a great book you bought.
But surely at 15 you can still have a growth spurt. Like, Julian, you're pretty tall. Like, how old were you when you reached the height you are now?
Well, I shot up when I was 15.
Were you doing this yourself?
A bit slow.
Were you older than 15 when you were...
I was about 18, I suppose.
So to worry about your nephew not being tall at 14 or 15, that's quite premature to get concerned about someone's height.
But boys do usually shoot up at about 14 or 15, don't they?
No, I never shot up. My parents kept telling me about my cousin Gethin, who he shot up when he was 22, he got ages yet. And of course I peaked at a very disappointing 5'7", which is...
I can't believe in front of Ronnie you're saying a very disappointing...
I was about to say...
His feelings!
I know. So upsetting. That's even more upsetting. When did you get out of short trousers into long trousers?
What time is it now? So what do you think? Is Ronnie telling the truth?
In the context of, what was that, the 40s when you were a teenager?
The 1944, 42,
Yeah.
41, 42.
Sort of
I
thing
don't
people
think
might
people
have
have money
believed.
to spend on self-help books. It was during the war. They're not going to spend time worrying about how tall people are.
Well, that'd be the time
exactly when you worry about we need to be taller than the enemy.
Having said that, it would have been annoying if they'd have made you grow an extra 6 inches, sent you in the war, got in the trench, and your head was sticking out of the top. It would have been very annoying, wouldn't it?
You've got to get a grip here, Lee, and make a decision.
I think we should go for... You're saying truth. Holly, how sure are you?
I'm definitely sure you're not... That's not true. I'm sure... I don't know.
You've answered the question, sweetheart. I'll go with Julian.
OK, you're saying it's true. So, Ronnie Corbett, is it the truth, or were you telling a lie?
It is the truth.
It's true. Ronnie did once undertake a self-help course entitled How to Become Taller. Of course, lacking height is no obstacle to success. I can think of loads of short people who've become household names. There's Ronnie, of course, and then there's Sleepy, Grumpy, Happy, Dozy, Sneezy, Ant and Deck. Sarah, you're next.
I once spent an entire day on the Asda shuttle bus just to have a day out.
Lee, what do you think?
How long did you spend on the Asda shuttle bus?
3 hours.
Is that a day out?
Well, yeah, I slept late.
So you spent 3 hours on the Asda shuttle bus, on your own?
Yes. Well, no, there was other passengers, but I wasn't with anybody else.
You were...
All life is there on the Asda shuttle bus.
Well, no,
you just sit there and watch the world
No, it's
get
not
on with their shopping.
It's not all like... But you wouldn't be on it, would you?
No, I don't.
Sarah, Ronnie.
Oh, sorry.
I think Ronnie wouldn't be on it before David wouldn't be on it.
Oh, no, God.
No.
Can I just say, I'd be on it. Happily.
You'd be driving it.
I'd be. You should be on the Asda shuttle bus because you're quite small and every little helps.
That's Tesco.
Tesco, yes.
I like those adverts for Sainsbury's. There's that guy with a really great voice who says, Sainsbury's, try something new today.
I'm the voice of Scottish laminate flooring.
Does all your flooring have to be laminated?
Oh, no, I don't approve of it myself.
Which branch were you going to?
It was the Bolden Asda.
The what?
Bolden. We went from Asda all around all the estates locally.
In Bolden?
Yes.
Is that in Newcastle?
No, it's in South Tyneside.
That sounded like Newcastle to me.
Because you're racist.
Did you get on the bus thinking you were going to go shopping and then thought, this is fun, I'll stay on it? Or did you plan to get on the bus as a jaunt?
I got on because I thought it would take me home, but it didn't go anywhere near my house, so I just stayed on. And then got back off at Asda.
And you
so
were
it wasn't
Oh, so you got on thinking it would take you home.
Yes.
It does one full revolution back at Asda, and you think, I'll try again, it might stop at my house this time. You never know. The second time round, he might just go via my house.
But there must be quite a lot of old people who do that to keep warm and for something to do. I mean, like, how long did you...
I'm 34, love.
All right, so what are you thinking, Lee? Which way are you leaning?
Julian.
I've no idea on this one. I've changed my mind. I think it's true now.
What made you change your mind?
The story of her trying to get home, that part of it.
See, that was the bit that made me think she wasn't telling the truth, because...
Oh, we're so different.
I know. Hey, you say that. That'd be a great name for a double act for me and you. Chalk and cheese. Hello, I'm Chalk and this is cheese.
I'll phone my agent.
Oh, I don't know. Holly?
I think it's true.
Do you think it's true?
So what are you going to say, Lee?
Oh, go on then. I will say it's true.
You're saying it's true. OK. Sarah, truth or lie?
It is true.
All right, yes, it's true. Sarah did once spend an entire day on the Asda shuttle bus just to have a day out. There's always one slightly strange person on those buses, you know, that everyone's a bit afraid of. And in this case, it was Sarah. So, at the end of that round, David's team are trailing by 4 points to 0. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Paul. Welcome, Paul. So first off, Ronnie, what is Paul to you?
This is Paul. Paul, I found one morning bound and gagged in a bunker on the golf course next to our house.
David, would you tell us how you know Paul?
This is my driver, Paul, and he refuses to drink pints because his hands are so small.
And finally, Sarah, your relationship with Paul?
This is my news agent, Paul, and he once asked me to watch the shop for 10 minutes, and by the time he came back, I'd broken a window, and there was a little boy had his head stuck in a crisp box.
Right, there we are. Ronnie's gagged golfer, David's small-handed driver, or Sarah's unfortunate news agent. Lee, where would you like to start?
Ronnie?
Yes.
This bunker?
Yes.
What were you doing? This is early in the morning.
Very early in the morning, because I go out very early in the morning, about maybe 7:15, 7:20.
On the golf course?
On the golf course.
In case anyone wants to use you as a tee.
It is upsetting.
It is upsetting.
Mind you, I shouldn't worry, because the other day I walked out in my big golfing flat hat and the greenkeeper rushed out and says, "These bloody mushrooms are early this year."
So you saw him
to be truthful, the two dogs, they went into the bunker. I thought, well, they're sniffing about that. And I went over there, and there Paul was, bound and gagged, in the sand, in the bunker.
And then what happened?
Well, then he was coming round, because I think he had a bit of a night the night before, so I tapped him on the cheeks gently like that, and when I was tapping the cheeks, and I'd undone the stringy thing and string around your ankles, you were really relieved, came round, didn't you? And I took you back home to Anne for a cup of tea, a cup of bit toast, and the dogs were very pleased to have found him. He'd been there all night.
What was this? Was this some sort of prank? I mean, was it a stag do or something?
Well, I didn't want to be too nosy about it. I wanted to look after him, get on the phone to his friend, have them collected and off the bloody premises.
Has he kept in touch?
We have, really, haven't we? Because we found that your wife was quite friendly with one of my daughters, I think. I remember we haven't seen enough of each other, actually.
Who else would you like to question?
OK, David.
Yes, when you say he's he's your driver, I mean, he's picked you up on occasions.
He was the driver on several series of Peep Show.
So you're a professional chauffeur, are you?
He's not allowed to answer,
he's a professional driver. Yes.
Have you ever picked me up?
He's not allowed to answer.
Are we allowed to see your hands?
Yeah, you can hold your hands out.
Oh, you could hold a pint of lager. What nonsense.
What's wrong with those?
I've got tiny hands.
Have you?
Yeah, probably smaller
You're my
than
kind of lady.
Oh, God. David, tell us about the whole business with the pints, then.
What Paul told me is that he always chooses to drink bottled beer because when he holds a pint...
this isn't at the wheel, is it? This is...
No, but on a night out, he chooses to drink bottled beer rather than pints because he gets laughed at for holding a pint glass because he sort of has to use two hands.
You weren't that small. Are you sure they're not serving it in buckets?
Maybe there's some course you could go on to make your hands bigger.
Should speak to Ronnie about that. Now, what about Sarah, Lee?
OK, so how old were you?
It was only a couple of months ago.
Are you a regular in his shop?
Yeah, buy a lot of chocolate.
And what happened while you were in charge?
Well, you know, I was trying to shut one of the windows because it was quite cold, and you had, like, quite high ceilings. You know those sticks that have got the hook on the end that you can shut a window, and it sort of went through the window.
What's the shop called?
Paul's.
It's called Paul's, is it?
Yeah.
Just Paul's?
Yeah.
Not Paul's shop?
No. Well,
Paul's.
it's obviously a shop.
To be fair, Marks and Spencer's.
What about this boy who got his head stuck
I forgot about
in a box of crisps?
Well,
How did that come about?
It was at the end of the school time, sort of 4 o'clock, and there was a rush of little kids, and one of them just wanted to get himself some crisps out the box, and it was the last one, and he got his head stuck in because he sort of went in.
The cardboard boxes with all the crisps in the
with
hole?
the hole. Yeah, he couldn't quite reach, so he went
put
in
his head in,
first.
and it was stuck?
Yeah.
And you couldn't think of any way to unstick him?
Well, I don't really do kids.
The crisp box thing doesn't ring true. They're not that big, are they? You have to put your head in.
If it was a little boy, you know, he hasn't got a head, no offence, the size of yours.
His arms are of reasonable length, presumably.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We need a guess from you, Lee. Is Paul Ronnie's bunker buddy, David's tiny-handed driver, or Sarah's unfortunate newsagent?
He does look like a driver.
Can I have a look at the back of your head?
Back
Turn
of
on
his
to the back of your
head?
head. Yeah. Do you recognise the back of his head, Julian?
But I don't believe he's a northern shopkeeper because his shirt is too nicely ironed.
See, this is the dilemma now. The dilemma is...
You're saying there's no chance of it being
It's
Ronnie's.
unlikely, but I'm not saying it's definite, right? I want that to be true more than any other story I've ever heard in my life. Because that's what I want to see Ronnie doing in the big chair next time. You're not going to believe it. I can't do the voice. All right, I can't do the voice. And if I could, I wouldn't keep doing it.
Ronnie, can you do an impression of Rob?
No.
I've never felt the need to do an impression of Rob. No.
You want the glasses?
I love the glasses, yes. There we are. How about it? There we are. Oh, my word. Goodness me. And in a packed programme tonight. Good Lord, you get vertigo in those.
Oh, God. Nobody without these, you know. God.
So, what are you going to go for?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's the driver.
You think it's David's driver? Holly?
Yeah, I think it's David's driver.
I think it might be Sarah because she looks like the kind of person that could break a window and almost kill a small boy in 10 minutes. I'm going to overrule my team and say it's Sarah.
Oh, bold.
OK, you're saying that it's Sarah and the newsagent. OK. Paul, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Paul. I'm David's driver. And I don't think time's cut my hands are small.
Yes, well, if ever there was a harsher warning of the dangers of a fascist state, I'd like to see it. Thank you very much, Paul. So, at the end of that round, David's team have 2 points, and Lee's team have 4. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, in which our panellists lie not only through their teeth, but also against the clock. Again, they don't know whether they're about to read out a true fact about themselves or a made-up lie that they've never seen before. David's team are currently behind, so they need to catch up. And we will start with... it's David.
As a child, I used to play board games against a bucket with a face painted on it. I called this bucket Stephen Tatlock.
Wow, what games did you play?
Monopoly. I played a game called Diplomacy. And
even then, you were thinking of becoming a politician.
Yeah. Even then, I'm not a politician.
Why Stephen Tatlock?
Well, it was basically named after a friend of mine. Who was...
Why did you play with Stephen Tatlock? He had no hands.
Stephen Tatlock wasn't always there. But after I painted the face on the bucket, he was.
Did he paint the face on the bucket?
I think my dad painted the face.
Your dad was involved in this sad story? You've decided you haven't got any friends, but lucky day for you is this is Stephen Tatlock.
What can I say? My father saw me talking to a bucket and decided to accept that side of my nature.
Did your father invent Henry Hoovers afterwards?
And this is your girlfriend.
So if you were playing Monopoly, you'd have your go, and then you'd run round and pretend to be Stephen, would you?
I wouldn't pretend to be Stephen, but I found I had to roll for Stephen. And Stephen would need help moving his...
Did Stephen ever win?
Yes.
What do you think, Lee? Is he telling the truth?
What do you think?
I don't know many people who have an imaginary friend with a surname.
He's one of the few. Did you call him Stephen Tatlock or Stephen? Did you say, it's your turn, Stephen Tatlock? You must do it quickly, or otherwise you'll go the way of the other bucket.
Usually I'd call him Stephen.
Oh, you were quite friendly then.
Yeah.
Did Stephen Tatlock know there was an imposter?
An imposter?
I call it the imposter.
No, I never mentioned Stephen Tatlock to Stephen Tatlock.
Did you ever mention the real Stephen Tatlock to the bucket?
I think probably not. No, I think that would have been...
They were blissfully unaware of each other's
presence. Sort of been playing with levels of reality. I don't want you to think that I felt I was in any way being unfaithful to the real Stephen.
Oh, yeah. I'm not picturing this as some sort of romantic film. I can't imagine the real Stephen Tatlock walking in on the game and you go, Stephen!
So what do you think then, Lee? Time for a guess. Truth or lie?
I think it's true.
You think it's true?
Don't know why.
Well, look at David. We know why. What do you think, Holly?
I think... I don't think it's true.
I might ask my friend, Boris Dickey. What do you think, Boris Dickey? Boris Dickey says no. It's a lie.
So you're saying it's a lie?
Yes.
You and Boris say it's a lie. OK,
Boris
David.
Dickey!
Boris Dickey. David, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Yes, it was a lie. When David was a child, he didn't play board games against a bucket that he called Stephen Tatlock. Next. It's Ronnie.
Oh, my goodness me. So glad I've been asked. There we are. Last week, I actually had to go into a shop and buy 4 candles.
Right.
Can I just check, Ronnie? When you say 4 candles, did you mean 4 candles or fork handles? You can have that one if you like. So
I went in to buy 4 candles.
Which one, though? 4 candles or fork handles?
4 candles.
Not 4 candles.
No, 4 candles.
Do you mean handles?
So that would be confusing, wouldn't it?
Can I just say, can you please let me have my childhood dream? Can I please say to Ronnie Corbett, do you mean handles for forks?
No, 4 candles.
So candles that you light?
4 candles, yes.
Where was this?
Sort of Addiscombe Road. Do you know where Addiscombe Road is?
Well, give me a clue. Tell me the town.
Well, it's London.
London town.
And it's a hardware shop, and it was, you know...
So you went in and you said, can I have 4 candles?
Yes.
What did the man say to you?
he came back with 4 candles.
Now, this is where it gets interesting. When he came back with the 4 candles, were they 4 candles or were they handles for forks?
There were 4 candles.
Lee, is it truth or is it a lie? Tell me now.
Oh, it's just... I want this to be true more than anything I've ever heard in my life. What do you think, Julian?
Well, it's a legend, so it must be true.
Do you think it's true? Holly?
I think it's true. I want it to be true.
I want it to be true.
Ronnie, is it the truth or were you telling a lie?
Well, I wanted it to be true, but I'm afraid it's...
Oh, it was a lie. Yes, last week, Ronnie didn't have to go into a shop and buy 4 candles.
When you say 4 candles...
It's a lie, although Ronnie does love shopping. As if he's good, he gets to ride in the trolley. And that buzzer signals time is up. And it's the end of the show. And I can reveal that, good Lord, Lee has romped home to victory by 8 points to 4.
Well done, team.
But it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week this week is Ronnie Corbett. Thank you, Mary. Yes, he's won BAFTAs and Royal Television Society Awards, but I think being named Liar of the Week by me, Rob Brydon, will surely be regarded as the pinnacle of his success. Good night.